Around mid-spring of 2019, a certain game was published that completely impacted Roblox. The game? Camping. I'm sure everyone who has had a Roblox account at that time knows exactly what I'm talking about and its effects on the community. But for those who don't know or don't remember, Camping was released on April 13 of 2019 by the developer Samsung the 16th. In the game, you and a group of 11 other players take a 3-day, 3-night camping trip in the woods. At first, the game seems like a normal camping roleplay such as backpacking. However, on night 1, a monster appears that completely changes the gameplay. It can immediately be extrapolated that camping is actually a horror story-driven survival game. The players then have to survive the rest of the nights from traps and the monster itself. Camping blew up. It became so popular that it created a trend of other horror story-driven survival games on Roblox. Over 150 camping-like games were made after its release. YouTubers made countless videos about camping and other inspired games. Camping received 3 sequels, each increasing the game and the trend's popularity. You would always see several camping-like games on the front page, each attracting hundreds to thousands of concurrent players. However, after several months, the popularity of camping games took a massive steep drop. The frequency of camping-like games being published decreased dramatically. Majority of camping-like games lost their concurrent player count severely. The hype for whenever a new camping-like game was released also dropped. Camping games are still being released to this day, but it's not as big as before. So, what happened? I did some research over why this happened, and I knew it wasn't just because trends normally die. I came across 3 reasons that can explain the sudden decrease in popularity. So here we go. What makes camping games unique from other Roblox games is that they are story-driven. Games such as the original Camping series and the Plane series have a marvelous plot that contributed to their success. However, many camping games started looking very similar to each other that increased their popularity. Lots of games follow a similar format. Number 1. You explore the area with a tour guide, who is the supporting character of the story. Number 2. It turns night or the lights flicker, which is when the monster attacks. Number 3. The players have to survive. If there is a tour guide, half the time the guide doesn't even believe you. Number 4. Part of the survival includes escaping to another area, such as a cave which always collapses, an obby, and having to eat food where one is guaranteed to be poisoned. Camping games started becoming repetitive, which made it less enjoyable to play. For many, the difference between certain camping games is that the setting and monster are different. A few camping games even satirize the repetitiveness, such as a normal camping game where the tour guide says, "But this one is different." Of course, there are several camping games that break free from the cliché format, such as Break-In and Attack on Albert, whose experimental format is a contributor to its success. But if you were to play a random camping game, chances are it would have the same cliché format. With many camping games being so similar, they became less interesting and kinda boring. The story, which is important for any camping game, becomes predictable. This probably affected the community's opinion of camping games in general, decreasing the popularity of the genre and thus decreasing the trend. Although camping was released in April of 2019, the height of the camping trend was during summer of 2019. It's when an endless amount of camping games were published and every Roblox YouTuber was making videos about them. Take a look at this Google Trends graph. These are the results for Roblox Camping in the United States, from the day of the first game's release to the day of making this video. The summer of 2019, which is highlighted, has the most results for Roblox Camping. Some can say, however, that the increase in popularity was because of the release of Camping 2, which yes, is a good reason. However, Hotel and Mansion, 2 games part of the camping timeline, did not increase the trend as much as Camping 2, most likely because they were published in the fall. Everyone knows that in summer, there is no school. Developers who are in college have a vast amount of free time to work on their games. And players, or most of them obviously are also in school, have even more free time to play Roblox games for hours. That's why there was a surge of camping games being released in summer 2019, each new game getting around 1,000 concurrent players. Once summer ends, everyone goes back to school, and thus have less free time. The rate of games being published and the amount of concurrent players decreases. This possibly led to the decrease in the popularity of camping games. This, or the fact that camping games were starting to become cliché, could also be the reason why there wasn't a big surge of camping games in summer of 2020. Close to 50% of all known camping games were published around summer of 2019, with a little stalling afterwards in the fall. While it brought us some good games, it also brought us some lame ones. Camping games were originally horror story-driven survival games, but now camping games are just a Roblox term for story games. Some games had a weird storyline that didn't make any sense. Several were slow-paced that made the game very boring. Camping games that had some horror in them were either very cheesy or put in no effort and just labeled them as horror. And a few were just utter garbage. I feel like a lot of developers wanted to get into the camping hype when they saw how crazy people were during the trend's peak. I think this is why some feel rushed or didn't make sense and that they just made it to cash in on the popularity. I know not all camping games are bad, and I don't want to sound as if I'm trashing on everyone. Some, like Plane, have wonderful storylines. Some, like Break-In, are action-paced, and some actually put in effort into the horror theme. But as the saying says, a few bad apples ruined the bunch. With a bunch of low-quality camping games, it probably made camping games in general look bad. These bad apple games ruined the popularity for the genre, adding on to the sudden decrease in popularity. When people find a new camping game, they probably think that it's going to be as bad as the others. So that's it. Those are 3 reasons that I think why the camping trend had a sudden drop. But what's the future for camping? Recently, Samsung the 16th has mentioned that Camping 3 is in development and could be released in either February or March. It's been over a year since the last original series camping game was released. I say Camping 3 has a good chance of reviving the series and trend. The story will finally be finished and those who have forgotten about the series will be enthusiastic to play it again. It likely won't revive the genre to how it was in summer 2019, but it could still bring a wave of new games. That's the end of this video. This is actually my first video for my new YouTube channel. I plan on making analysis/commentary videos about Roblox with the consistency of one video every 2 weeks. I hope you all enjoyed, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in 2 weeks.